Hey, what's up everyone? This is Ill Factor from beatacademy.com, and we're continuing in our video series, Advanced Ableton Live Tips to Instantly Boost Your Creativity. In this video, we're going to be looking at some Max for Live plugins. Now, there are lots of Max for Live plugins, and we're not going to get through all of them, but I'm going to highlight some specific ones that I like to use from time to time to, add some creativity to my workflow. So let's dive right in. Now, ever since Ableton Live has partnered with Cycling74 to incorporate Max for Live, the results have been amazing. It's given people the opportunity to create solutions for problems they run into in their creative workflow, or just to be creative with creating plugins that they would like to use. And that's what Max for Live is. If you're not familiar with it or you're brand new to using Max for Live, it's just an opportunity, a way for you to actually create your own plugins. You would load up a Max for Live audio or MIDI or whatever instrument type of plugin, and you would actually open up Max for Live and create your own custom plugins. But we're not going to get into that. We're really just going to showcase a couple plugins that I like to use from time to time to, experiment and get creative with. First one we're going to look at is the envelope follower here, located in the Max for Live audio effect. There's tons of other plugins. Just want to showcase this one really quick here. So we're going to go to envelope follower, and I'm going to place this on my kick drum in this track. And what envelope follower does is when audio goes through this plugin, it will create an envelope that it will assign to a parameter. So pretty basic. Every time this kick drum is played, I can have that envelope trigger something. It could be, a plugin to bypass, or to, or a filter to turn on, or whatever it is. So let's do something cool. Let's have the kick drum here trigger an EQ that I have on my lead vocal. So here's an EQ I have on my vocal track. And what we'll do is we're gonna assign the envelope follower that every time the kick plays, it's going to trigger a plugin, which is pretty cool. So first thing we need to do is map the envelope follower. So I'm just gonna hit the map button and then go over to my lead vocal track, and let's just say frequency 2 and the gain. So I've just mapped the gain here. Then we're going back to the envelope, and this is gonna determine, some of the parameters here will determine how much the gain is going to affect. You could determine the rise of the envelope, the fall, how fast, and things like that. But let's just take a look at what it's actually doing. So I'll hit solo on the kick drum, and let's solo the vocal. So you can see here, every time the kick plays, it's actually triggering the gain of this frequency to just go up. And we can determine the setting and the parameter here. So let's say if we wanted to lower the parameter here, if I bring that to 10, that will bring the actual gain. It'll only increase by that much. So let's increase this a little bit so that the gain actually starts. I don't want it dipped all the way. So I'm gonna start it up. I'm gonna move it up a little bit here. Let's just say maybe 43. All right, that's kind of cool. Then when we hit play, it's actually going to dip down. So it's a cool way to create some kind of dynamic response to the EQ off a specific instrument, and not necessarily just by frequency like a lot of dynamic EQs do. This is more like a mixing type of tool, but a really cool one nonetheless, that you can start to get creative. I can have the kick drum map out other plugins or turn on something. Maybe every time the kick drum plays, we can have it like turn on an overdrive or something like that. So it's really cool. And then you could shape, here's the gain amount. So let's say if we crank the gain up by 12, this will increase the effect. So it's going down a lot. It's taking a bigger dip. So pretty cool. Experiment with that. It's really, really neat. And you can see how, I hope a lot of light bulbs are turning on with things that you can do. Another plugin I like to use from Max for Live would be the buffer shuffler. I'm going to go ahead and add that to the guitar track here. And this is a cool way to add some random stutter, pitch, gate. Well, let's just experiment with it and you'll get to see what I mean. So here we can go ahead and choose some stutter and just sequence when that stutter effect will take place. So I'm just going to randomly select a couple little slots here, and let's listen to the guitar. And we'll combine a little bit of the dry and wet. And then you can go ahead and change some of the pitch stuff here. And we'll turn that on. You can also just randomly select different parts. So you can do this with the amp and the pan, the left, the right signal. So really, really cool stuff. And just experimented with a couple of these things, like using the freeze button a lot, where it will just hold that specific spot in place, the affected spot in place. So yeah, I know it gets a little weird, but sometimes adding stuff like this, maybe even on the drums, could be really cool, because you start to get a lot of these cool little glitchy type of effects that you can add just for cool little ear candy things. So yeah, that's another cool little plugin to add into the arsenal. And another great sound designing tool is the Convolution reverb in Max for Live. Unlike the other reverb that comes stock with Ableton Live, the Convolution is more so focusing on creating just real spaces, or even just coming up with different unique atmospheres for that sound. Typically with the reverb, you'll have either a plate or a hall type of thing. But here, there's sampled acoustic, like acoustic environments have been sampled and recorded, and you could do that yourself here. They give you the ability to do that. And so here are some of the real places. And then you can go like, what does this sound like in a power station in Berlin somewhere? So we can run the drums through that. So I've used this a lot more for sound designing, especially when I'm doing a lot of score work for video games and things like that. It's a really cool way to create another type of acoustical environment that you normally can't get when you're trying to just use a regular hall reverb or things like that. There's a lot of nuances that are caught in some of these environments. Hamilton Mausoleum. And then you can go ahead and each one of these parameters and change a lot of the parameters that are in here. So the EQ, the positioning, really, really great and powerful tool as well. And then one more last thing here in the audio. It seems weird, but this is actually one of the plugins I like using a lot, and that's the pitch drop. Believe it or not, I use this a lot to do just really cool tape stops. And so you can determine how long it will take. We'll put like a half. So it's really cool. You can add this on like a track where a large amount of audio is going through it, and just go ahead and do that cool little tape stop there. So I want to add some chorus to those guitars, but I would like to use something that would automate or just control some of the parameters automatically on that chorus. And that's what using the Max for Live LFO tool can be really helpful. So let's go to our audio effects. Let's drag and drop a chorus right onto the guitars. And then we're going to go to Max for Live, still an audio instrument here for Max for Live. Click the LFO tool, drag and drop that. And just as what we did earlier with the envelope follower, now we're just going to assign the LFO to just trigger the dry and wet of this chorus. So I'm going to hit map and click dry and wet. And now we see the dry and wet going up and down continuously because it's set to the rate that the LFO is currently on right now. So it's a really cool chorus tremolo type vibe. I mean, just adjust the rate here to slow that down, and you can see the parameter change there. The depth, how much of that's going to happen. So it's really cool. The offset, is it going to go down or up? And so let's go ahead and adjust that, see what we get. And you can adjust it, sign, up, down, triangle. So really cool. And this could be mapped to anything really, even third-party plugins. You can just go ahead and map that over and have these really cool effects. And then just automate the rate here. And that's going to be a lot more beneficial and helpful than trying to automate the dry and wet going all the way up and down. You can just go ahead and use this to create that. And then we'll wrap this up with taking a look at some of Max for Live's MIDI effects. Now, some of them are very similar to what we've covered, like such as the LFO and the envelope, but a couple of things like Note Echo and MIDI Monitor are really cool plugins that you could use. So Note Echo, well, it does exactly that. It's echoing the MIDI notes, but it's a really cool way. It's almost as if you're creating a delay plugin, but think of it, instead of delaying the audio, you're really delaying the MIDI. This is without it. So it's actually adding an extra note in there. So if we put this back on, and you can adjust the pitch, so we'll go about 4 semitones up. Yeah, kind of crazy, but you get the idea. Really cool for experimenting and coming up with some crazy stuff. And then the MIDI Monitor is just a really helpful tool all around. Just kind of analyze, and you've probably seen other videos in which I use this to help you kind of navigate through the chords that I'm actually playing. So here you get more of a bird's eye view of the notes that are being played. And if you're not very savvy with chords in general, and you want to know more or less the chords that you're playing when you're inputting just notes, it gives you the chords and the notes that you're actually playing on your MIDI controller. So once again, it's a helpful tool and really useful when you're trying to navigate and figure out certain chords and notes like that. So these are some helpful tools when using Max for Live in your projects using Ableton Live. And so be sure to subscribe to this channel so you can stay up to date with upcoming videos. And as my gift to you for watching this video, I'd love to send you a free sample pack. It's a sample pack right here that I've put together from some of my past projects, taking some of the samples from those sessions and then creating actually construction kits, one-shot effects here. I've got kicks, snares, and sounds that you can use in your projects. This is 100% royalty free, so that means that whatever you use from the sample pack, feel free to share that music with the rest of the world. And it's yours absolutely 100% free as well. Just go ahead, click the link below in the description box to download this, or you could visit www.beatacademy.com/pack and download this sample pack today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.